Thank you. Thank you, Shona. Welcome, everybody. Wednesday night. Have you been up to the show yet? You have. Good, good. So you've bought the catalogue. Good, good. Now you can go up again and buy a second catalogue. Good, good. And I want to know if you've had the chance to read Louis-Antoine's essay, because I think it's one of the most wonderful things, because here is somebody who, looking at drawings, loving drawings, owning drawings, but somehow it's not an art historical writing, it's actually a wonderful piece of prose, of almost fiction.
Thank you.
Did you not start life with writing rather than looking?
When writing the book?
No, not in a more general sense.
Well,
because you were a writer as well.
Well, but there, in this special book, it was the first time I wrote a book about this collection. The other time, the collection was exhibited in many countries and in the Louvre, and there the files were written by my friend Pierre Rosenberg, who is a former director of the Louvre, as everybody knows, and a member of the French Academy. And so it means he writes very well, because he's at the French Academy. But being a novelist all time ago myself, yeah. I wanted to put in this text two things. A description of the evolution of the drawing art all along the 19th century, from the Napoleonic era till the Third Republic and its consolidation in 1900, and the reflection about the drawing had come to me and how the collection has been constituted.
So it does actually have a wonderful sense of narrative about it. Well, it's like a story.
I don't know, but naturally there is a different story on each drawing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, getting older now, I don't always remember people I met, but I always remember drawings I see, because each of them has a different story, and I really see very well when I acquired them.
I think it's not unusual, actually. I think probably quite a lot of people here are more likely to remember a painting they've seen than a person they've met. Mm-hmm. Don't worry. I think that's, Louis-Antoine, I think that's entirely possible. But tell us a little bit about the beginning of the story, mm-hmm. of your collecting of drawings, because now it is exclusively French.
Yes, totally. It has been.
But it wasn't always that way.
No, it has been a long choice. At the beginning, the trick, ce qui a déclenché of the collection was the fact that I had inherited from my father a villa on the Promenade des Anglais at Nice, and
this drawing is actually one
of the only one drawing in the show which comes from my father.
Right.
And this villa was sold, and so we got an amount of money. And with my wife, we said, well, what are we going to do with this money? At the time, we were finishing the School of the Louvre. We were in the fourth year of the École du Louvre, which was called museology, which was a study of law about arts and story of collections and so on. And we said, well, maybe we could have a country house, because my father had also a magnificent country house, but my mother sold this country after my father's death when I was 6. And so we said, maybe we could buy a country house. And I said, why don't we try to make a collection of drawings? And a collection of drawings and elsewhere. So we bought also some paintings, some sculptures, and some drawings by other schools, Italian or Dutch. But finally, the more and more we were advancing, it seemed to be convenient, being our medium possibility of purchase. We were not billionaires. And being our knowledge which was more concentrated of
On
French drawing,
yeah.
being the fact that we were French and living in France, where you find essentially French drawings. It
sort of makes sense,
so,
doesn't it?
So
yeah.
we said we are going to concentrate
yeah.
on French drawings, and from 1600 to 1900, at a time we had some 20th century drawings by Lafresnaye, Modigliani, Mayol, and so on, Max Ernst, but we get rid of them to buy one drawing. It's one of the problems of the collectors. It's what we call in France the arbitrage,
yes,
to make some decisions between what you have and what is arriving to you, and which must be much better. Yeah. And sometimes we had to sell many things for getting one.
To get the one that you really want.
For getting one, yes. Yeah. And I remember the drawing is not there because it's not a drawing, a 19th century drawing, but once we were proposed with a very important Watteau drawing, which is in this moment in the Watteau exhibition in the Louvre, and which will be in 6 months on the Watteau drawings show that Pierre Rosenberg and myself curate at the Royal Academy in London.
I think this is one of those rare occasions, that Watteau show, when we're actually sending something towards you.
Somewhat?
We're sending a drawing to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're sending our little Watteau drawing to the Louvre.
And
it's normally one-way traffic, so it's nice to be able to reciprocate.
Well, I just wanted to say that for buying this Watteau drawing, we had to sell in 1 week 100 drawings to get the money to get this drawing. And naturally, it's a sad thing. Now we have only 220 drawings, and we don't feel very able to separate again from something. But I think well, for instance, naturally, if you have visited the exhibition, there are 1 or 2 artists, maybe more, which could be much more well represented. Maybe the Granville, for instance, is a very short drawing, but it's amusing because it's related to its more popular book, which is Private Life of Animals. But Granville, who is a great artist, could be represented by something stronger. But it seems to me that with more of the artists which are there, they are represented by good
examples.
Good examples.
But now that you've got a kind of a very clear definition to your collection, it's still developing. You're still adding to it, aren't you?
Well, we are trying to miss some gaps, and anyway, that's the hazard which makes that the collection keeps on, because in some occasions, as you have seen, I find that the first wall on the left, which has been magnificently anchored by Peter Reisis, and we have 5 Prudhon on blue paper. It's magnificent, but one month ago,
let's look at one of them.
One month ago, we bought a 6 Prudhon, which is not there because the catalogue was already on press and so on. But we bought a 6 Prudhon, which is a study for the big painting by Prudhon, Venus and Adonis, which is in the Wallace collection. So we don't leave and we don't forsake Prudhon because we have 5. If we have still another 7 Prudhon, which is of quality, maybe we try to get it. Naturally, we prefer to fill the gaps, and the gaps are evident, naturally. Just before the holiday, there was a sale in Paris, which was called, with a mind of publicity, or the kind of publicity that sales rooms wants to make. It was made by Sotheby's, the Volar Safe Treasure.
I saw it.
In fact, it was some drawings and engravings which Ambroise Vollard had given to a man whose name was Schlokovich, and finally there was been a trial for 20 years to know to whom these things were belonging, and finally it was the trial was judged, and it was Sotheby who sold it. And there was a Gauguin, naturally, you have noticed it if you have seen the exhibition, there is no Gauguin drawing. It was a very interesting drawing that Gauguin called a dessin empreinte, print drawing, yes. Which means that on a face he made a drawing, and the drawing was fixed on another sheet of paper, yes. With ink, yes. And so it makes a sort of monotype on the other side. And it was estimated a big price, and we tried to go much further than the price, but it made a much bigger bid, so we didn't have it. And
so you still don't have a Gauguin?
No, we don't have a Gauguin. No,
it will come?
Maybe.
So, just before we move on, you know, you are a writer, and you've done a lot of writing, and you still write, and I must commend Louis-Antoine's essay, because it is a wonderful piece of writing. And drawing and writing, somehow, there's a quiet correspondence between drawing and writing, don't you think?
Yes, and well, that's even so true that we have in the exhibition some drawings by writers.
Yeah, I want to come to that. Yeah.
I think we have one by...
I'll show you. There's Baudelaire, but there's also Ingres. Let me just show you this. I want to come back to that. This one.
Yes, we have an image by Victor Hugo, one of the...
I love this drawing. I think it's
Victor
wonderful.
Hugo was a prolific draughtsman. Yeah. He made more than 3,000 drawings. Yeah. Much of them are in the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris and in the house of Victor Hugo, which probably you know, which is on Place des Vosges. But many of his drawings are still on circulation, and this one was very impressive because it's a beach where he was himself taking bath when he was in exile in Guernsey, and naturally he used all the techniques of drawings with this pen, this very acid
and a brush
pen, and the brush, and with some probably moving the sheet to make these effects of nearly like an abstract thing. Yeah. So naturally, in this sort of things, the literature joins the drawing, and you can see even in the inscription and the way he signed it and the way he wrote the date, 1857, that he likes to scratch the pen.
Yeah.
And that's
no, it's not only the technique. There's something about the spirit of, when you write. Somehow the thought, the process of thinking, and the process of revealing are in symmetry.
Yes, that's true.
And the process of drawing and the process of thinking seem to be in a similar symmetry. And I just, do you know of other... I like this correlation between writing and drawing. I just think it's something that seems to be particularly sensible and sensitive in your particular interests as well.
Yes, probably, yes.
Well, who are the other writer-artists that you've got in the collection?
Baudelaire.
Baudelaire, yes. Who's in the show?
But Baudelaire is very rare. He made only 30 drawings. Yeah. And so we have two. One of them probably showing his famous mistress, Jeanne Duval. And so it's there is a true correspondence between this image and the famous poems of the Flowers of Evil.
Let's look at, because Louis-Antoine's picked some drawings, and I just thought we saw the Proudhon earlier, but this Millet, this was a quest, wasn't it? This was one of your quests.
Well, yes, it's a strange story, because this Millet was very famous, because it was exhibited in the big Millet retrospective in
this drawing?
Yes, this drawing. In 1980, I think, around at the Grand Palais in Paris. And at the time, it was belonging to a man whose the stamp you can read on the right bottom.
Can you see it? The bottom right, the stamp.
Yes, yeah. On the right, yes. His name is Alfred Normand. You see, it's an A with an N in a square. And he was very proud of his drawing. He was an old gentleman. And I remember that the curator of the show, Robert Herbert, who is also a specialist of Seurat, wrote, this is one of the most genial drawings by Millet, because it is coming right from Rembrandt for the pen work, and it's announcing Van Gogh, which is not false. So, well, it was an exciting drawing. And I always wanted, because Alfred Normand had many other Millet, which he bought for nothing after the war. I said, well, Alfred, do you want to make an exchange with me? And I brought a portfolio of Tipolos and so on. We can make an exchange. And probably he remembers this famous sentence among the collectors that in the exchange, you have always a stupid and a crook. So, so he did not make the exchange, and I had to wait till he died, and his son immediately sold me the drawing.
That's what sons do.
Well, that's a sad story, but anyway, we had to preserve the drawing, and the drawing was essential to the collection.
So as soon as you heard that he was dead, you were around there.
Well, sometimes. Me too, I am going to die someday, and somebody will have to deal with this.
Ah, yes, but that's a different story, because I think we're right in thinking that your collection is actually going to go to the Louvre.
Well, in fact, as you know, for the destiny of the collections, of the well-made collections, let's say, there are two possible destinies. The one is the destinies that the brothers Goncourt were Greek collectors of 18th century drawings proposed, and it was to have a sale because, as I said, people in the museum don't understand the works of art, and we prefer to have a sale where an inheritor of each of my taste will buy something. Well, and the other solution is to consider that the private collection must finish in a public collection. And naturally, in the public collection now, the problem is that in the Louvre, for instance, the portfolios are made by artists. So all what you see here, this is, I hope, a sort of composition, a sort of symphony from David to Cézanne, with correspondence between the artists, will not exist no more. Yeah. Each artist will be in his portfolios. Yeah. So, well, naturally, it's and the only thing which will keep of me and Véronique shall be the little peace stamp. Which we put on the drawing, which is an habit of collectors, Japanese collectors, and also European collectors, which has been discussed, but which is very interesting to put stamps, because when you read the stamps on the bottom of the drawings, you can see the evolution of the owners. And
it's the biography of the drawing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's look at one or two others, because you picked some drawings that you particularly like. Ingres, for example.
So I'm drawing. It's a portrait of Pierre Bayot, who was a violinist very known, and as you know, Ingres himself was a musician. Yes. And we have this expression in France, the violon d'Ingres, which means that something that you are very good in, which is not your principal activity, but you are very good in. And Ingres was naturally an immense painter and draughtsman, and also he played Mozart quartetos as with Bayot and Paganini, and you see that on the partitions that Bayot holds, there is written Mozart quarteto. Quarteto, yes. And at the time, Ingres preferred Paganini. He made a very famous portrait, a pen portrait of, a graphite portrait, excuse me, of Paganini, which is in the Louvre. And finally he said, well, Paganini is too much tormented and playing around, which is written and so on, and I prefer Bayot. And this placid figure, Pierre Bayot, which is very known about the musicians, was called by Ingres the Poussin of the violin. Oh, and the drawing is one of the two only drawings with the portrait of Paganini where you see the violin, which is very important for Ingres. So it was important to get this drawing, and I get it in very strange conditions, because it was in a Rouen collection. It had always, like many.
Was it done in Rome?
It was in Rouen.
or in Rouen?
In Rouen. It
No,
was...
because
the family of this man was in Rouen, and it had always been in the same family. And at the time, the man had need for money, and he was a member of the Friends of the Louvre, which is the association whom I am vice president, and was 60,000 members, and who helped the Louvre to buy many, many things each year. And for the centenary of this association, which was in 1997, we made a film, which was published a little round on TVs and so on. And naturally, on this film, as I am not very modest, I was playing a big role. And he said, "Oh, this Mr. Prat, he looks sympathetic." And he said to the dealer to whom he has deposited the drawing, "First ask to Mr. Prat if he wants to buy it." And yes, naturally, Mr. Prat wanted to buy it. So it was a good occasion.
Yeah.
It was
something intrigues me about these little portrait studies of Ingres. As you know, we are very fortunate to have one.
I know.
From James, which is in, and it's one of that whole group he did as sort of commissions when he was in Rome.
Yes, he was working for the Englishmen, yes.
And, but in your other drawing here, there's something, the face and the head are always absolutely meticulously observed and drawn. And then gradually, as you go down the body and the figure, the detail disappears.
Yes, it's always the same, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe less in this one, but in the portrait of Madame Ingres, which is in the collection, you can also see that the hands are very fast done. And naturally, there he is precise because he wanted to make the violin precise.
Yeah.
But generally, he was insisting on the face. We know that generally, after the testimonies of his contemporaries, he made 4 hours to make such a drawing, 2 hours before lunch or after lunch. And
well, the head was done before lunch and the rest was done after lunch.
Maybe. I am not sure.
I wonder what he charged for that.
Excuse me?
How much do you think he charged for the commission, for a drawing, a
4-hour
drawing?
For this one, he didn't charge because the one you have, it was made at the time when he was...
Oh, that was when he was earning his keep, his living.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was very poor. After 1815, after Waterloo, naturally, the French civil servants left Rome, and he had no more orders.
No clients.
And so he had to, but the English were making the Grand Tour, again. So at the time, he made portraits of Englishmen, and he asked, well, I don't know, probably the equivalent of now $1,000 or something like that. And the funny thing is that we have a story of one Englishman who once came to Ingres poor house because he wasn't rich at the time, around 1816 or around 1817, and he knocked at the door and he wanted to have his portrait drawing, and he said, "Is it the place where habits the little portrait draughtsman?" And Ingres was a little man, very proud, said, "No, sir, he habits a great history painter," and he knocked the door, and this poor Englishman never had his portrait by Ingres. But for the Bayeux, it's 1825, and he had a great success in 1824 at the Salon with the Virgin of the Host, and he did not need to have money now. He did drawings for his friends, and he gave them.
Let's look at Delacroix.
Yeah, the Delacroix is a drawing. I was as a Millet. I was very passionate to get it because it was in famous collection, and the drawing was much more celebrated than the Millet because it was in all the. It's not astonishing. It was in all the books on Romanticism as an image of perfect Romanticism with the music, the expression of love, and the sensuality, and a sort of mystery again, the cult of the woman. And so these interrogations which made the drawing absolutely charming. And it's much more charming because we don't know whom it represents. It can be a singer called La Malibran. It could be Marie Pleyel, the daughter of the Pleyel.
It may be just un rêve. It might be just a dream.
Yes, but it seems anyway to be somebody existing.
It's actually, you know, when you think of Delacroix and you think of his drawings, you think of something much more sort of dramatic as a rule, don't you? Right. This is a very sort of soft and eloquent drawing.
It's made only with the pen, with the pencil.
Yeah.
It's only with the pencil and the.
Because you've got quite Delacroix is well represented in the show upstairs.
Well, we have 10 drawings.
Yeah.
We have 2 others in the house. Yeah. He's not a rare horseman. He said all his life, drawing is my daily prayer.
Your daily prayer,
So he made drawings each day, but he made many preparatory drawings. In the Louvre, we have more than 1,500 drawings by him. So naturally, he's an artist nobody has tried to make the catalogue raisonné of drawings because there are so many in the cells which are reappearing. But this one is a typically charming image, and naturally the strange thing is that she has a bare breast. So you can imagine she's lovingly looking at somebody. Some people
for whom
said,
she is playing.
Yeah?
She is playing for somebody.
Yes, she is playing for somebody, yes.
Mireille, now let's move. The Hugo, we've got to talk about this.
Yes.
Because if there's one drawing, that if I could have one drawing, if I could get one drawing, one more drawing into this building, it would be a Seurat drawing. To me, these are the most extraordinarily evocative use of the lead pencil and charcoal.
It's very strange that at the end of the 19th century, somebody had to invent a new way of drawing.
Of drawing, yeah.
Of drawing, and he used for that. He died very young. He died at 32 or 33. And between 4 years, he made 300 or 400 what we call black drawings like that, which are made with crayon Comté on a special paper, which was the papier Michalet, it was called. It was a sort of Ingres paper, but very, very bumpy, very with...
it's quite coarse.
Yes.
It's coarse.
And so you can, with the pressure of the graphite, you can modulate. Yeah. And which is impressive when you look the drawing very near. It's the way it passes from the strong black to the light black. And the title of the drawing, we don't know by whom it was given. First it was called House Under the Trees, and then somebody said the haunted house. And
the haunted house.
Yes, I tried in the text to make a sort of relation with Edgar Poe's tale of the Usher House. We at the end of the day, we arrived at the fantastic Usher House, but it's not probably that. And Seurat was not probably a lector of Poe. But the thing is that the drawing is absolutely strange. And
it's got, I mean, all those black drawings, because of their very nature, have a kind of haunted effect, don't they? Because of the way that they're made.
And naturally, this sort of drawing is very searched of. And there was one which was sold in Sotheby's in Paris last year for more than 5 million euros. So it's difficult now to get, and I didn't pay this sort of price, but it's difficult to get this sort of. There is a strong competition with the most important Ronald Lauder, Léon Black, and there is an actor in Hollywood who buys some Seurat drawings, Steve Martin. Yeah, which I don't find is very funny, but he earns much money.
He's certainly not very funny if he doesn't give us, you know, one of his Seurat drawings to the Louvre and one to us.
Yes, absolutely.
That makes him even less funny.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I think that we should, because there are 2 others. You have 3 Seurat drawings, and they're all in the exhibition. And we very rarely see a Seurat drawing here. And I think the last time was, we had some in the Baylor Collection exhibition. Oh, we had one in the abstraction show as well. So, but
because
to me,
actually it's a way to abstraction in a sense. But Seurat was very proud of his drawings, and at the time he completely forget paintings to make only drawings.
And whilst there are a lot of drawings in your collection are drawings in themselves. They are not in that rather more Italian tradition of studies for something else. Yeah. The idea of the drawing had reached that stage where, you know, even as a sketch, as a sort of, it was still a finite work in itself, as opposed to a journey to something else.
That's true. But we have also been very attentive, my wife and I, to, because we are living with the Louvre, which is near our family. We have been attentive to drawings related to the Louvre or say collections, like the little Degas daughter of the family Bellelli, or many other drawings related to paintings in the Louvre of our museums. When you have the drawing, you feel to have a part of the painting. Yeah. It's amusing also.
I think we've got to stop because I get in these she's telling us we've done enough.
Yes, we are going to listen at Laurent's speech, which will be much more interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.